This material has been reproduced and communicated to you by or on behalf of Deakin University in accordance with Section 113P of the Copyright Act 1968. The material in this communication may be subject to copyright under the Act. Any further reproduction or communication of this material by you may be the subject of copyright protection under the Act. Do not remove this notice.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be presenting to you today. My name is Toby Durden. I come from Deakin University in Australia, and today I'm going to be presenting to you about the Deakin Freelancing Hub. The title of the presentation, Delighting Students and Clients, the Nexus Between Academia and Professional Services. I'd like to initially acknowledge my colleagues at the university who have really the driving force behind this initiative, and who I've worked with very closely over the last couple of years. In particular, Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Denelli Mather, Associate Professor Jamie Mustard, who is the Director of the Deakin Freelancing Hub, and my colleague Emma Simpfendorfer. Neither of them are available to present today, but I just want to acknowledge them in this presentation as well. So today I'll be talking to you a little bit about who we are, what the Freelancing Hub is, how the Freelancing Hub works, what some of the participants have said, and where we think this is going in the future. Deakin University is located in Victoria in Australia. It's in the top 1% of universities globally, and for the last few years Deakin has had the enviable position of being the #1 university in Victoria for student satisfaction. In addition, with the Times Higher Education Young University rankings, Deakin has recently scored the #1 university in Victoria for institutions that are younger than 50 years. So we like to think we are a great institution and are doing some great things with our students as well. The university itself has 4 campuses, 4 physical campuses, and I've said there's a +1 there as well, and that's because over the last few years our virtual campus has grown significantly, and in fact 25% of our students now study in a wholly online mode. Within the university we have 4 faculties, 14 schools and departments, 8 research institutes that bring in a lot of research income to the university, 10 strategic research centres, and 24 research centres that are attached to the schools and departments. Of particular importance is the scale of our teaching. We have 40,000 effective full-time student load, which equates to approximately 60,000 enrolments across every year. So it's a large institution, and we're certainly teaching at scale. For my part, I work within the eSolutions division at Deakin. eSolutions is an internal service provider, effectively for ICT. We have an operating budget of 64 million Australian dollars, approximately 400 staff distributed across each of the physical campuses, and we're largely responsible for all of the IT infrastructure, systems and applications at use at the university. In addition, we have 2 primary data centres, and we provide a range of professional services to the university, in particular around project management, change management and vendor management. And I, for the last number of years, have been working in the project management space. Variously, I've done a number of roles in my career to date. Presently, I'm an IT professional, but previously I've been a commercial fisherman, an aquarist, a scientific diver, a naval officer, an archaeologist, a safari consultant, and so I bring quite a diverse range of skill sets to the job. But I absolutely love working at Deakin and doing what I do. So what is the Freelancing Hub? Essentially, it is a unique work-integrated learning program that's run internally at the university. Many of our students in many of our courses seek work integrated learning opportunities in host organisations during the course of their studies, and this helps them prepare for the workforce. The Freelancing Hub is our efforts internally to create a space where effectively the students come into that space and work as a freelancer, doing something for a real client, invariably working on a real business problem that they may have, and delivering creative, bespoke solutions, and at the same time getting academic credit and valuable skills for the workforce. So it's structured as a proper academic course, and the students get credit for that. The participating organisations for the Hub are primarily not-for-profit entities, aid organisations, and social justice enterprises. We have one freelancing hub for the university that consists of 2 chapters, primarily at our 2 larger campuses, as well as a cloud function, whereby students who are studying remotely or off campus can also participate in the hub. To date, since the inception in 2017, we've run 109 projects and 770 student participants have run through the hub. So how does the Freelancing Hub work? I'll look at this from 3 perspectives, starting with the students. Students have to apply to be in the hub. Effectively, it's like a job application. There are certain eligibility criteria that we look at, and sometimes academic performance is a deciding factor on whether or not a student is admitted to the hub or not. We need to make sure that they are capable of managing their time and effort across other courses as well. So they go through a formal application process. This includes them submitting a resume. We benchmark those and also providing a video biography. We look at undergraduate and postgraduate participants in the hub. We go through a strenuous series of selection interviews and matching. So invariably we have an idea of the projects that we're going to be doing, and we make sure that we try and match the students' skill sets to those particular projects. Importantly, we build up cross-disciplinary teams. We make sure that the students are getting feedback at every stage. So even though they might only get to the point of submitting a benchmark resume, at least we're providing value for the students and giving them feedback and helping them prepare for when they actually apply for work in the real workforce. Finally, we give the students a formal offer that they sign. Effectively, it's a contract for them, and this is their agreement of how they're going to work within the hub. The important thing here, I guess, is the notion of cross-disciplinary teams. We go to some effort to make sure that we have a diverse range of skill sets in each of the project teams, because this diversity brings the creative solutions to the clients. For example, one of the most recent projects I was involved with, we had a law student, public health, business administration, the student was doing their MBA, an art student, and 2 IT students, one undergraduate and one postgraduate. Once they're in the hub, the students are enrolled in a work integrated learning course, and the students set their own learning objectives as part of their assessment. As I say, they get academic credit for participating in the hub. They then work closely with their academic supervisor on those objectives and meet with their academic supervisor a number of times during their tenure within the hub. In addition, the workplace coach/mentor in the Freelancing Hub supervises their day-to-day work, and that's effectively the role that I perform. From a client perspective, one of the key things we need to do when identifying projects for the students is to determine the location and willingness of the host organisations to participate. Sometimes students may need to travel to a client site. We need to make sure that that's an appropriate environment for our students. We look at the project and the problem eligibility criteria and make sure that they're a good fit for the type of students that we have and the skill sets that we have. And we look for a loosely defined problem statement. So the clients come to us with a real problem that they've got. It doesn't need to be defined too specifically, because part of the engagement is to ensure that the students tease out that problem. And we really encourage the students to fall in love with the problem. An important factor is also the host availability and their expectations for the duration of the project. When the students need to meet with the hosts, we need to make sure that they can do that as well. Similarly, we provide the host organisation with a formal offer and agreement. Finally, the mentor coach. The mentor coach really is crucial to the success of the Freelancing Hub program. Again, we look at the suitability of the mentor and coach. What type of industry experience do they bring? Their contact hours for availability during the tenure of the hub, and really what they can bring to the students, in addition to supporting them in the day-to-day operations. How else can they add value to the student experience within the hub? We make sure that the mentor and coach are aware of the expectations, in particular around writing assessment reports on the student's performance. And to close that out, the mentors and coaches are also provided with a formal offer that they sign. So the mechanics of the hub are such that the students and everyone involved participate in an induction program at the start. We have dedicated spaces on our major campuses for the Freelancing Hub. So these are really bespoke environments that are built for teams. We have a range of technology in those spaces to help the students with including whiteboards, video conferencing facilities, etc. We encourage professional standards within the hub, so the students need to dress as if they are working professionals. They conduct themselves as working professionals, and we make sure that their correspondence is professional. So we try and avoid vernacular language. We try and get them used to writing, business writing. In addition, the students and participants are introduced to a range of tools and processes that are heavily influenced by Agile, and that helps them design and build their project. Normally, we see the projects running for approximately 10 weeks, and the students will have a number of touch points with their client during that time, including even working on site at the client space. The clientele are a broad range of organisations, including government, not-for-profit, community organisations, charities, social justice, etc. A couple of exemplars include the Victorian Parliament. This is one of the projects that we ran recently. Based on some data from the 2014 Victorian state election, it was very clear that a huge demographic of approximately 18 to 24, 25-year-olds were quite severely disengaged from the election process. The Victorian government ran a series of workshops with the Foundation for Young Australians to really try and reach out to that demographic, and on the back of that approached the Freelancing Hub to see if we might be able to assist with an engagement strategy for this demographic. And so the students were actually working at the Parliament on a really exciting blueprint for how better to engage with youth in the future. There was some great publicity from that event, and in fact I think that URL is still active as well. Another example is work that we did with the Forest Neighbourhood House. This is a community organisation in a very, very small hamlet, approximately 3 hours from Melbourne. The national broadband network was being deployed nearby, and one of the members of that community negotiated to have a spur added to the broadband network, and effectively this tiny little town that has a population of about 250 were one of the very early towns within Australia to have fibre broadband or fibre network installed. Their idea was to design a bespoke adult digital literacy program for some of their communities, but as the students engaged with that community and understood a little bit more about their needs, it was clear that in fact it was more about connection and social cohesion within that rural environment that was the real problem. So through a series of negotiation and compromise, a number of presentations to the communities, the students came up with a solution that was actually better suited to them and differed slightly from the original request. And the students learned a huge amount through this experience, in particular about negotiation and compromise, and also the art of chatting. Just a little bit about how the hub has grown over the last few years. Starting off in 2017, we're now running at approximately 286 in 2019. That's 286 students, and about 40 programs in 2019. By the end of 2020, we expect those numbers to be similar. Interestingly, we imagined that with COVID-19, the participation would drop, but in fact it's increased because we're able to deliver the service through the cloud. And the participation through the cloud, we've actually seen the numbers increase, and that's partly because other on-campus programs that students might participate in haven't been able to run this year. So what did the participants say? Well, the students absolutely loved it. There was a huge amount that the students got from it, in particular understanding about networking, but also understanding about working with the clients and fronting up to a client and really getting that good hands-on exposure to a physical workplace. Sometimes students in the workplace are delegated fairly menial tasks as their work experience or their work integrated learning. And this was an opportunity for the students to work on something meaningful for the client. In addition, it gave the students an opportunity to understand how teams function in the workplace as well. From a client perspective, the feedback that we've had from our clients has been overwhelmingly positive, complimenting us on the design of the solutions, the conduct of the students, and the cohesion that they see amongst the teams as well. So what are the key takeaways from this? I guess the main thing for the Freelancing Hub has been to help students prepare for employment by putting them into this fairly pressurized, simulated environment, working on a real problem for a real client. We expose the students to some of the real pressures that exist in the workplace. It's a safe environment for them to learn, to improve, and to iterate and get better and better. The best thing for students to be able to get employment once they graduate is to have that relevant professional experience. And by making them work as professionals, we give them a little glimpse of what that feels like. It enables them to then talk about that experience in interviews. And in fact, we've seen a number of students get jobs talking about their experience through the Freelancing Hub. In addition, we think that the skills that they're able to be exposed to and some of the techniques that the coaches and mentors share with them really gives them an edge when it comes to recruitment. In addition, we find that it's the hidden job market that they get exposure to that really also gives them a bit of an advantage. Many jobs aren't actually advertised on Seek and some of the big recruitment platforms. And so understanding how to network and how to look for the jobs within that hidden market is an advantage for the students as well. The primary reason for the presentation today is to demonstrate that IT organizations within universities can actually add value to initiatives such as this. And by taking expertise, in particular change management and project management, and applying them in this context, we can actually add value to the learning experience for the students, but also imparting our professional expertise and wisdom and hopefully adding value to their university experience. I'm Toby Durden. I'm a Distributed E-Capabilities Manager at Deakin University, and I really want to thank you for the opportunity to present today. Here are my contact details. Please feel free to reach out at any stage if you'd like to further information about the Freelancing Hub. Thank you.